game. Obviously it's that's a tough offense to match up against, tough quarterback to go against, and they all kind of gave up some plays and made some plays. They battled all game, and that was really what we asked from all those guys is just keep battling and trying to keep playing the techniques and the calls and stuff we're asking them to do, and won some, lost some, made some plays and gave up some plays, and I thought again, just especially kind of the way our first half went. We left some plays out there in the first half and kind of responded better in the second half. So I thought we kind of regrouped, and all those guys, not just the corners, but defensively, I thought we kind of came back out in the second half and did a better job. So really for us, it was about with those guys just keep battling. And look, you're going against that caliber quarterback. He's going to make some plays and make some throws on you, and we got to keep coming back and make the next play. And I thought they did a good job at doing that, all of them. So. Cornell probably didn't get as many reps as some of the other guys, but we were just trying to work groups and kind of keep the targets moving and changing and try to get some matchups that we liked, so we just kept rolling those guys around a little bit.
Has the light come on for Raekwon, do you think?
Sure. I thought he played his best game this season. I thought he was I think Raekwon was one of the main factors in our run game. I thought our D tackles played really well in the run game. I thought Raekwon and Kiko did a really good job in the interior. TJ as well, kind of that kind of collection of guys really helped shut the run game down. And I think it was a nice step. I don't know if the lights come on or if whatever the saying is, but it was a good step for him. He played square, he played stout. He was very firm. I don't think he misfit a run all day. And some of the stuff where they were doing a lot of two-back run game where which we had maybe struggled with earlier in the season on some of those fits and how that lined up. And he played well, did a good job all day.
What would you say about TJ McDonald in terms of how he's played this season and how he sort of meshed with your secondary?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. He's obviously a physical presence for us. So he's done a really good job. Obviously, when we use him down in the box and doing some of those things, he's, like I said, I thought our tackles, those two linebackers and TJ really were the kind of driving factors in the run game being successful for us last week. So he's done a great job with that and fitting. He's honestly probably one of our best communicators back there too. So in terms of just getting guys lined up and getting the checks out and being in tune with the game plan, those sort of things, he does a really good job with that and taking care of his side of things. And whether it's talking to the corner or talking to the nickel or getting things right when he's down the box and working with the linebackers. So I think he's actually had probably an underrated season, to be honest with you. He's done a good job for us.
You've been using a 5-2 front for a couple of...
Have I? Have I?
Well, 5 defensive linemen.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons when you do that? Obviously, I'm assuming you do that to stop the run.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends. We have different variations of some of those fronts. Obviously, probably the ones you're referring to. Yeah, if we're in a heavy run situation or a two-back set or some of those things, we have packages where we can put obviously a bigger body on the field, and load up in some of our fronts and kind of get a little bit stouter and get more firm in there. Obviously, you're taking somebody else off the field, so whether you're limiting yourself in coverage or just, you're I don't want to say you're getting predictable, but we have to have enough pitches off it where they don't know. Obviously, they can see the 5 guys coming out in the field, so obviously we have to have enough change-ups where we're not just stuck in one thing. And but we just try to pick our spots with the matchups when we feel we have a beat on a particular something we're getting from the offense that we'll throw those guys out there. Sometimes we do it honestly to get matchups in a rush game. We'll put 5 guys out even on third downs and those sort of things to try to spread guys out or get matchups in a pass rush game. So we utilize our fronts in different ways.
Vikings change offensive coordinator this week. Do you have a follow-up?
I did have a follow-up, but go ahead.
I'll go back there.
We're all friends here, guys.
You've used a number of packages. I believe, what was it, the elephant? I don't know if you guys call it elephant, where...
We'll call it whatever you want to call it.
The one where everybody's standing up and then there's one guy who's a primary rusher, kind of disguising the coverage. You haven't used that much this year. Is there a reason why, or? You know which one?
Not really, but not really actually.
The package where I guess a lot of guys are standing up. Like Charles Harris used to be on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some stuff like that where we'll do some of those things. Again, we just go week to week and just say, okay, in terms of, in those sort of things, it's more like, okay, how do we, we're trying to dictate protections or how we can attack a protection on a third down. And again, anytime you're either putting more D linemen out there or utilizing more guys in the rush, obviously you're taking away from your coverage. So there's always a balance in terms of how many guys you can dedicate to rushing or attacking the quarterback versus how many guys you're putting in coverage. So, week to week, we just make those determinations on, whether we're using those type of packages or not. So, I couldn't tell you right now offhand percentages, we've used it this year versus another year. But every week, that's something that we examine, kind of how we want to utilize those things. And, as a core philosophy, we try to use our 4-down rush as a starting point. So then anything off of that is adjustments we make from there. So we got a few different tricks up our sleeves sometimes.
So Vikings change offensive coordinator.
Yes.
I don't think they have enough time to completely overhaul their scheme.
You don't?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do you think?
I'll put that in my notes.
I
I don't know anything.
Put that on the chart. They'll run a few more times. The head
Possibly.
coach has publicly said we want to run more. So obviously you're aware of sort of things. But I'm wondering about this tendencies, right? So how important, how much time do you actually spend on this coordinator's tendency on 3rd and 1 with the score close in the second quarter or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not having tendencies on this guy, does that mean you discard that notion for this game?
Well, I think it's just going to be an adjustable game plan. I agree. Obviously, they're not just going to put a brand new offense in, and I don't know much about the new coordinator. He's been there for a long time, so there's a lineage of what they've done there. From that point of view, but from a tendency standpoint, in terms of how they're calling things and when they're calling what plays, I think it's just going to be a fluid thing in game, and we just got to get a feel for what their approach is. And to be honest with you, it's like that any week. Everyone self-scouts and they have a feel for their own tendencies as well. So, you have to be ready to adjust and adapt to different things that are being thrown at you on Sundays, week to week anyways. So this week is just probably going into it a little bit. There's that little bit of unknown from that point of view. So, we've really just tried to focus on us and getting us down and doing our things right and making sure that our calls are being executed. And if there's something new that's thrown at us, then at least we're doing our thing and being in the right spot, and we'll adjust to anything we see from there. So.
I'd like to learn something here.
Okay.
Do you think in general
That's good.
offensive coordinators spend more time focused on tendency break from game to game than defense?
I've never coordinated offense, so I can't necessarily answer that. We look at ourselves. We self-scout every week. We keep a running full season self-scout, and then, a 4 to 5 week kind of look back on some things. So I try to gain a perspective if I'm very predictable in a certain area. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I don't care. That's just dictated by whatever the situation is. But we'll have pitches off things that if we've shown a certain blitz or haven't blitzed in a certain area, that we want to kind of change that if we know offense is expecting one thing. I'm sure offense do that. I know Adam, does a lot of that, where he tries to make sure he's always got corrections and answers to things he's doing. So I'm not sure it's an offensive defensive thing. I think that's probably coach to coach and, how much stock you put in all that stuff.
When you face a quarterback that's completing 71% of his passes and has two very dangerous wide receivers, probably arguably one of the best duos in the league.
Yeah, I'd say so.
How do you kind of neutralize that, or?
That's the answer, right? That's the answer everyone's looking for. I think it's just like we do everything else. The completion percentage stuff. One of sort of a trend in the league is obviously the quick passing game and ball getting out quick, and sometimes it's hard to stop those. We have to be good tackling. so they don't get those yards out the catch. You have to keep the short passes short and keep those things in manageable situations. I think just like every week, it's about changing our coverages and, keep giving different looks and keep giving different answers. Just, again, try to buy time for a rush to maybe have another second to get there and maybe make him pull it down and not, see something that he's not seeing. So they're two great players. They're both, obviously, they're both top 10 in the NFL in targets, receptions, and all that stuff. So it is a challenge, and I think it's just like every week. I mean, we just got to – there's going to be balls completed. I mean, he's going to complete passes. That's not – it'd be great if we go 0 for something on passing. I doubt that's going to happen. So we have to tackle them when they are completed and keep the short passes from becoming big gains. So we got to keep everything in front of us and tackle those short passes, and then we got to change up enough looks and, again, keep our coverages mixed up that maybe they don't get a beat on where the answers are.
Do they throw the ball downfield much at all?
Yeah. I think, I don't know the exact numbers. I feel like both those guys have like almost 20 explosives each.
And that's not from catch and runs?
Some are.
Yeah.
Some are. I mean, they do a good job at both. But yeah, they take shots down the field. It's not exclusively a short passing game, so we can't just put 11 guys inside the 10-yard line and defend.
What do you see as the strengths of Thalen?
Man, he's they deploy him in the slot a decent amount, and he's a bigger body for that position. He's a 6'1", 6'2" guy. He's got good length. Really, really, really good body control. Understands leverage and how to get open. Great hands. Probably better athleticism than people give him credit for. But he runs really good routes. He understands how to get open. He's got really good body control. He makes a lot of good catches because he positions himself well. Obviously, kind of has a good rapport with the quarterback. He's a good receiver, man. He's I don't see a lot of holes in his game, to be honest with you. He's crafty. He's smart. You can just see the way he works to get open, and he understands coverages and how teams are trying to stop him. And then he has good counters off everything people are trying to do to him. So we're gonna have to work to get after him a little bit this week for sure.
How much do you think Minkah can learn from last week's game? Obviously, it's a tough opponent. He's young at the position, but he said that was the worst game that he's played this season.
Yeah, well, I'll let him speak for that. I feel like this is my philosophy with all those guys. I mean, every week he had some hard lessons. He probably learned last week, and again, that's a Hall of Fame at a minimum quarterback, and they got a good receiving core. And again, for an unfamiliar position for him, he learned some lessons, I hope. But I think that's just all those guys. Like, the more he plays and the more he experiences that, and man, he came in, after the win. Adam gave the guys Monday off, and he came in first thing Monday morning and sat through with Tony and watched the tape. I mean, that's, he literally showed up the first thing and said, hey, texted him, said, hey, I want to go through this with you. You know what I mean? So he didn't wait, and that's the kind of kid he is. So I think all his experiences at all the positions he's played and playing against good players and good quarterbacks, I mean, I think he's just going to keep growing and learning from that as he goes. So sometimes you got to learn some tough lessons and take some knocks on the chin to get better. Cool. All right, guys.